Okay, it is 10 o'clock. We will begin. This is the Tuesday, December 15th, 2020, Pine County Board meeting. This meeting will be in person and via WebEx, video phone conference, and streamed live on the internet. No more than 2 county commissioners will be present in the meeting room. The public may join the meeting via WebEx in person at the meeting room or watch the live stream. If joining the meeting in person, the total number of persons, including commissioners, cannot exceed 10 and social distancing of at least 6 feet will be in effect. The governor of the state of Minnesota has issued Executive Order 20-01 declaring a peacetime emergency and coordinating Minnesota's strategy to protect Minnesotans from COVID-19. On March 24th, 2020, the Pine County Board of Commissioners declared a local emergency for Pine County. Based on these conditions, the chair of the Pine County Board of Commissioners has determined that the requirements of Minnesota Statute 13D.021, Subdivision 1 have been met, and it is not practical or prudent for all members of the county board to meet in person. The public is invited to join the meeting in person or remotely by phone, and the numbers are on the website. For more information, watch a live stream podcast of the meeting. We will call the meeting to order and rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, brings us up to public forum. Is there anybody that wishes to speak? If you do, state your name, and you have a 3-minute time limit to state your case. Anybody in the room up there that wishes to speak?
I don't see any, Mr. Chair. Just observe.
Anybody on the call? If not, we'll move on to the adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections?
Mr. Chair, we have a couple of additions. If we could add addition to consent agenda item number 11C, consider approval of hiring of Jacqueline Ness as a clerk 3 effective January 11th. And then if we could add to the regular agenda item number 8, letter C, approval of the highway supervisor's labor agreement, and letter D, approval of the legal assistance labor agreement.
Any other additions or corrections? If not, we'll look for a motion for approval.
Commissioner Ludwig will move as amended.
Second.
Motion by Ludwig, second by Mikrot. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mikrot.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to that passes. Thank you. And move on to the approval of the minutes of the December 2020 County Board minutes and summary for publication, and December 3rd Truth and Taxation minutes.
I'll move. You want me to do both of them, or you want to do one at a time?
We'll do both of those under the minutes here at one.
Okay, Moore will make that motion.
Thanks, Josh.
Chafee second.
Motion by Moore, second by Chafee to approve the minutes. of December 1st and December 3rd. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the acceptance of the minutes of the board's report and correspondence from the City of Sandstone Wellhead Protection Plan Part 2, Pine County Housing and Redevelopment Authority Board of Directors regular meeting October 28th, 2020, and Pine County Land Survey's monthly report for November 2020. Thanks, John.
Second that.
Who was that?
Moore.
Moore in the second. Mickert makes a motion. More seconds. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee. Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. You've had that in front of you for a few days. Hopefully you had a chance to mull it over with the addition of the clerk 3, Jacqueline Ness. I'm looking for approval.
Ludwig moves. Mickert, second.
A motion by Ludwig, second by Mickert, to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the regular agenda. First up is a public hearing on drone aircraft. Minnesota statute 626.19 requires an opportunity for public comment. At this time, there'll be no board action. But the first thing up is a presentation of the drone aircraft usage by Pine County Sheriff's Office.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about this program. So as you know, Franzen Bank, try not to move. Is that me or? Okay. So Franzen Bank donated a drone and the accessories to get it functioning. And with that, we now have to have a public hearing to. All right, hold on. We're good?
Well, you start out good, and then it gets mumble jumbled.
All right, I can.
Yeah, if everyone can mute, if everyone on the call can mute, that would eliminate the interference.
That's terrible.
Okay. So I can start over again. So Franzen Bank donated a drone to the county And with that, it triggers a public hearing having today. And obviously we have to have policy and all of that in place before we use it. So at this point, we are still in the process of fine tuning the policy, the input that we may receive today, and factoring that into how it functions. And again, the opportunity to get a piece of equipment like that is fabulous, and I see a lot of good uses for it. I did get, and I think all the commissioners did as well, one email of correspondence. That's the only one we received at the sheriff's office. And I can address a couple of the questions that are on there. There was largely what I saw on it was suggestions on our policy, and we'll certainly review that and see where that goes. One of the things that they suggested I touch on was what the purpose of the drone and what the uses of the drone would be in my vision, if you will. So I think the one that people most readily see is search and rescue, and obviously getting an aerial view of a scene, whether it's a natural disaster or a missing person. I think everyone can see that instant benefit that would add. So, but it also, if you look at what uses are wrapped up on a missing person scene, if you will, it really is not just searching, but it's, you're scouting ahead of people that might be on foot looking for hazards, to guide the personnel that are again, boots on the ground and walking through that. But it's also looking at the big picture and the planning of the events. And you can continually update any changes that might be happening. Oftentimes when we're doing a search, we'll have aircraft support, whether it be a fixed wing or a helicopter, but they're really high level. With a drone, you can kind of get in between that, what you can see at eye level and what you can see from the aircraft above. So you really help focus those man hours, if you will, in the right area. So it helps to concentrate where you're going to search and increase the abilities. And that's really what, to me, the drone program is going to do in all things. I think if you look at it in military terms, I think they like to use force multiplier. Well, it's not necessarily force in this case, but it certainly multiplies the personnel that you have out there and their abilities and capabilities. And I can think of several examples where in the past it would have been helpful to locate people when they're alive, and also locate people after they've been not recoverable in that manner. So it really does, I think, help, obviously, in that search and rescue. Also, a couple other uses that will be helpful is traffic crash reconstruction and major crime scene reconstruction, and those kind of events. Again, a lot of times we'll have an aerial view from a helicopter or other resources that will fly over and help map out a scene or help reconstruct a traffic crash, because you can put the pieces together. And in talking to the State Patrol, they're primarily the people that come out and do our mapping on major crashes. They have all of the total station, they call it, where they can set it up and do a reconstruction with that. But also they can take aerial photos and GPS information and incorporate that into their map as well. So again, just getting more details and being able to help out on the people that are helping us out. And the same thing with a major crime scene. We'll typically have the BCA come in and do mapping, photos, videos, and those kind of things. And again, incorporating a drone from an overview will certainly lay out that scene better and allow us to process it better. So those are great. Search warrant preparation also, being able to put some eyes on a target, and being able to not have people in harm's way while you're doing that, again, is going to be a huge resource, I think, where we can do some kind of planning with some instant knowledge on what's going on, what the deputies might encounter as they go into a situation. So again, all of it really is to augment what we do now. It doesn't replace anything. It certainly helps us do our job better. Just like a canine program, it doesn't stop the officers from having to do their job or doing their job appropriately. It really just is another tool that we can use when we need it to help keep deputies safe and help make better plans, which obviously get better results when you have all that information. And I know one of the concerns that comes up with drones is the privacy issues when we're flying cameras around people's property and houses and all of that. And that really is addressed, I think, pretty well in statute on what we can and can't do. And the policy is already structured that way. But we do have a couple of different agencies that already have the program up and running that we reached out to, got their policies. Still in the process of meshing that together to come up with our final policy on how that works. And, again, I understand the privacy concerns, and we'll do everything we can to mitigate any issues with that. In statute, there's requirements for handling the data, and it was fairly similar to body and squad camera that we just recently went through. And right now, our plan is to take any video that we need and house it in the system that houses our body and squad camera video. We can put that right in there in its own file and store that data, redact the data, and delete the data when it reaches that timing out period on retention. So if there's any other questions, I can certainly answer them.
Mr. Chair, can I have a question? You're muted.
Go ahead, Matt. It's board member
Okay.
question time now, and then we will open up to the public when the board's
Okay.
done.
Okay, I just have a couple, Jeff. I know the problem. No one's gonna question, public land, public highway crash work is gonna be the privacy issue. And then, I kind of have two. So, we can go anywhere as law enforcement officers where the Avon lady could go. So can the drone go down the driveway into the front door without a search warrant? That's one. And I'm sure it's probably a Reese question. And my next thing is how discreet are you going to be with the data? And where I'm going with that is you don't need the whole department looking at the thing, but whatever team is involved or whatever, because you're going to inadvertently probably at some point hit sensitive footage. And then what do you do with it? Is it stored forever? Or if it's not needed, do you delete it from that? Or it's hard. I don't think you should be deleting anything. So I'm wondering how that's going to be handled. You know what I mean? Because if you start deleting things, it's going to taint your whole evidence line. So.
Right. So.
I have one more. Elevation. I think that public needs, what altitude, because I remember nothing can be below whatever, but I can't remember that number now. And I want to know if it changed since we used to use airplanes,
Yeah. So again, I'll go work backwards and I'll forget the first one before I'm done. So you'll have to remind me. So where it flies is roughly line of sight. So we still have to keep the drone in sight. So if we can see it, we're okay. And it depends on what we're doing with it. Certainly if we're operating on public area doing a search, it's wide open. And if you can fly it through the trees or, get a higher elevation, then it's fully acceptable there. And if you're going into private property, obviously we're going to most likely be operating with a warrant. So it's going to be specified on there how that happens, and it's videoed and that kind of stuff. So it depends on how it flies and where it flies. And that's another thing we'll have to do again is the training. We haven't designated pilots yet. We haven't had them trained yet. And in fact, they have to get the license through the FAA to be able to operate, since we're a government entity. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that'll get fleshed out in that on what the FAA will allow and how it plays together. So the data, and again, as we set up our policy, it will sort through that a little bit, but it's classified in the statute on how it is. And but again, it's going to shift like our body camera does too. So it's private unless it's criminal or unless it's, so it slides across classifications kind of as it serves its purpose. So there'll be some adjusting as it goes there. And again, similar to the body camera stuff, the redaction and when we can release it and that kind of stuff will be sorted out based on that classification that it's currently in. So it's hard to, again, to say one answer of.
Oh, so no, I know. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to figure out what the right be thinking. And the other question I would have would be, when you do body camera or, or squad footage, you're usually called to the scene unless you're initiating a traffic stop or something on the phone.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
If you're doing body camera footage, with the camera, or it's usually that you've been called to a scene, so you're going there in response to something, unless you're initiating a traffic stop or something. But you're usually on a public highway there.
Sure.
So if you're using the thing for surveillance, that's where I think it's gonna be the hardest thing to.
Right. And I think it comes down to kind of like you had mentioned before with the, we can go to places that are public within a driveway.
Yeah, it's up on the phone here.
And it's the same thing. I think in public, we can fly a drone and everyone kind of has the expectation that somebody's filming them somewhere anyways. Most of this gas stations you drive by have cameras that are facing towards public spaces and all of that anyway. So really, I think it's, in my read through it, it really is the same concept. If it's public and you're in public, then you can have video running. And again, if it doesn't become criminal and there's no reason to keep it, it'll be deleted sooner than if it's something that actually comes into a case.
Thank you.
Obviously, a further intrusion into private property would require a warrant unless it fits the exigent circumstances.
Questions from the board? I have a couple, Jeff, and they're not probably the policy we're talking about, but the interference from unauthorized use in a situation where we have first responders and sheriff's departments, and I know talking to some firemen not too long ago, they couldn't land a helicopter because somebody was flying a drone through the area. And have you made any arrests of anybody that, they think they're helping or they want to be posting something on YouTube, but they're really interfering?
Yeah, that's obviously a growing concern as more and more people get them, and they're obviously more advanced and sophisticated on what the private drones can do and where they can go. So we have had some of that concerns. We haven't arrested anyone or cited anyone. I think in the one you're referring to, I don't think we identified the pilot or where they were from. So yeah, that was a direct, that was a medical, I believe it was, and trying to get that air ambulance through the scene. Obviously, if they know there's a drone in the area, they won't come. So if we can publicize that, aside from this meeting, that we certainly don't want people flying drones over scenes for that reason. If we're trying to get help in there, whether it's searching or a medical response, it's going to interfere with that because they don't put their aircraft around drones.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? If not, we'll open it up to the public for any comments. Anybody that's on the call wish to say anything? I hear nothing. Anybody see anybody waving their hand or anything? If not, we'll close the public portion of the meeting and then come back to board members that might have any questions. And then Jeff, just remind us of the next steps.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
it looked like Mark Nisley was trying to talk, but can't hear him.
Hi, Mark.
He's muted.
Mark, apparently you're muted. It shows on my little thing your microphone's X'd out. Ryan, can you unmute him or not?
I sent the request to unmute Steve. There we go.
There we go, Mark. Okay, we got you. Go ahead and speak.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry for my technical difficulties or my. Just a couple main points, and thank you all got my email and for allowing me to give some input. I'm surprised there aren't more people wanting to weigh in on this, but I think a couple main points, and I think it just boils down to, and Sheriff Nelson, you indicated that you're continuing to work on the written guidelines, and I guess my first question would be, when would those, would the public have a chance to see the final guidelines, and when would that be available? But as you're working on that, I would encourage you to try to hone down exactly as you can what circumstances you would use the drone without a search warrant. And I know you can't every imaginable scenario where you might, but to me, the statute and the written guidelines as proposed are not very clear. As an example, under the current governor's declaration of peacetime emergency, does that constitute an emergency? As Division 3 of the statute would let you use the drone without a search warrant. And I'll just give you a couple examples here. I would have no problem you flying a drone over my property if there were a dangerous fugitive hiding behind my shed. However, if I'm having a gathering in my backyard, the governor says we're supposed to have some people. I don't think very many people would want a drone flying around checking on to see if they're complying with the governor's executive orders. So that's one, and I can think of other examples. Maybe and I shared with you all some examples of some other states and what they have done. For example, flying a drone over beaches and using a loudspeaker to tell people to disperse and comply with social distancing. To me, that would be an overreach. So as I do, as you write the guidelines, to be as specific as possible as to under what circumstances you would use the drone, and especially without search warrant.
I had a hard time understanding some of that, and I appreciate your concerns, and we'll certainly take those suggestions as we flesh out what it looks like and how we're going to use it. As you mentioned, part of the problem when you're writing policy is if you start listing X A through Z, what you will do, you're going to miss the one that you actually wanted to get there and to begin with. So I would like to say I'm going to do that, but in all honesty, it's going to have to be a little more wide open than you're suggesting. I think, again, we'll look at it and we'll take those into account. But we'll get it paired up with the expectations through the statute and make that realistic. To answer your questions on would the social gatherings be an appropriate use for the drone, in my opinion, they're not. I don't think they really have a place there. To me, that isn't what they're meant for. How we address it in our policy, in our practice, we're still sorting through. But obviously, with that as the intent, I don't think that's the right place to use it either. Whether we can use it to, and again, we got to look at the policy, not in we have one drone right now that we haven't actually flown yet. So we don't know exactly what it can do, but if we set up a policy, we can't write it for one drone. We have to look at the policy as if we add to the fleet and add capabilities to the fleet, what that looks like as well. So right now, we couldn't use it as a leaflet dropper or a loudspeaker or anything like that. Doesn't mean the next one might not be able to. So again, we have to look at the big picture on not necessarily answering every, can we do it? Will we do it? It's really that big policy that offers the guidance on a case, and if it applies, then we can use it. So I know I'm maybe talking around directly on your answer, but I don't see the policy going that granular where it's going to restrict us more than it needs to be able to use it for a good purpose. Hopefully that addresses some of your concerns.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And I understand it's a delicate balance between what you want the capabilities to be as a law enforcement agency and the privacy of citizens. And as I mentioned in the email, I trust Sheriff Nelson to keep the drone use in check. But the importance of written policy is that we don't know about future sheriffs as much as we would like Sheriff Nelson to be the sheriff forever. He probably isn't. So, the written policy is also for, future administrators as well as have currently. I think keep that in mind as you develop the written guidelines. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say, again, thank you, Sheriff Nelson and your department for everything you do to enforce the law and keep us safe out there.
Well, thank you for that vote of confidence. I do appreciate that. And I truly agree too. If we establish a program now, it has to be something that, again, we can adapt if we get new technology, that it doesn't hamstring us, but at the same time, it doesn't allow misuse. And that, again, is a very worthy goal, and where we're going to take this. And I guess I didn't answer your timing wise. And to be honest with you, I don't know. It will be probably at least a couple months. End of the year, we're trying to get a lot of stuff done. This we didn't see coming as quickly as it did. So I feel bad having equipment in my office that I'm not letting anyone use. But again, if we do it wrong, then we set bad precedents, and I don't want to do that. So it will be a couple months at least. And then we will post it, the final version. We'll post it up on the website so people can refer to it if they want. And again, it's a changeable document. If there's errors, if there's misuse and it needs to change, by all means, we can address that.
Any other comments from the public?
Yes, this is Eileen.
Yes.
We've had a lot of difficulty. I've been knocked off twice now, so I just want to say that I hope you have another public hearing, because if I'm hoping I'm not the only one. Anyway, I'll go on to to the list that I have here. And some of them are the same things that Mark has said, so I'll try not to repeat, but and some of the things I didn't hear. No enforcement or surveillance of any kind as far as the governor's orders, and I believe Mark brought that up too. His mandates, we should not be surveilled to enforce his no contact or shutdown orders. Our county shouldn't be doing that. Or any stay-at-home orders. No random flyovers. We don't want random flyovers. The apprehension and of criminals, that's one thing. But not surveillance of any kind of the public here. If we're not criminals. We're your bosses, okay? I see you already have, you said you already have some, Jeff, you already have a drone. This is another drone.
No, this will be our first. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll wait for you to hand, it'll be easier.
What is the yearly cost for maintaining them and having operators? Where will the operators be based? What is the distance of flight? Is it, you know, I know a lot of them are about 20 minutes, you know. I don't think it should be used to be gathering information for any county, state, or federal department, you know, just for a matter of gathering information. I don't think we shouldn't be watched that way. And also, I think that the public should have the ability to address complaints concerning the drones, and I think they should be listened to and they should be aired. So that's all I have to say. And as Mark said, I appreciate the work that you do, Jeff, and that the department does. And thank you for that. That's all I have.
Thank you. I will address them as I wrote them down. Hopefully I got them right. And I agree with you. I think if we have a program that erodes public trust, then I think we have the wrong program. So I certainly want to make it one that makes the department, makes the county a better place and doesn't allow any of that eroding, if you will, of that public trust. So certainly we'll do everything we can to set up the policy and the process appropriately. Again, I'm not going to stand here and say that you and I might agree on every case-by-case basis, but I think the overall goal is to make it appropriate as we can. So I don't have any intent of doing random flyovers. I think we're wasting manpower by playing with a toy, if you will. If it serves a purpose, we're certainly going to use it to every advantage we can. And I think, again, that's going to be a public service, not a personal or inappropriate service. So the cost, obviously, with the startup is going to be a little more than the annual. So to train the pilots, we have a quote of $1,500 for 6 pilots to get trained up. Then it's an additional, I believe, $150 per pilot to take the pilot's exam. And then there's additional user training that we would be looking at besides that. So roughly $2,000 to get 6 pilots up and running, maybe $2,500. The drone that we received, we only have the one drone. So the one that we have came with 5 batteries. They say it's about a 40-minute flight time per battery, so we could have a fairly significant amount of flight time by interchanging batteries. And if we had a portable charging station, you could theoretically run through those batteries as you go and keep the drone up for a very extended period of time. That's all weather dependent, from cold to wind that you're fighting, where you have to work the drone a little bit harder to stay in place, again, from what I understand. So the flight time is really kind of as long as we need to make it. and it's appropriate. The cost is roughly at $2,500 maybe to get the thing up and running. I don't have a good idea on what the maintenance, upkeep, or the addition of stuff that would make it more usable. So obviously with any technology, you can buy a bigger screen, you can buy more batteries, you can buy a different or better camera, or another drone to use as a platform. So I think the company that we got it through suggested a $30,000 to $60,000 annual budget. I have not addressed that with the board yet. Not sure we're going to shoot for that. Again, it's something we're starting to develop, and as we see where it could be better, we'll address those issues as we go. So, are there other questions I missed?
Does it have infrared, Jeff?
Yeah, so the one we have has both daylight and FLIR technology.
Does it have the capability of electronic surveillance?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. We can record video.
How about audio?
I don't honestly know. I've seen the pictures that when we got the demo. I don't think it has audio, but I guess I never asked.
Can you give me the make and model?
I should have wrote that down. That would have been a great idea. I don't think I have it. It's an Autel, AUTEL, and it might be posted on our Facebook. I won't even try to look it up. It might be posted on our Facebook on what they gave us. If you want, send me an email and I can answer it too.
That would be great. Thanks, Jeff.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple quick questions if nobody else has any comments.
Yep, go ahead.
Just real quick, and I apologize if you answered this when you responded to my email, Sheriff Nelson. The written guidelines mention a program coordinator. Is that somebody in-house within the Sheriff's Department or otherwise on county staff? Or is that a third-party vendor? And then who does the training?
So yeah, my right now, unless there's reason to change it as we go through it, it will be a sergeant that's been assigned that. He and I are going to sit down and go through the policies that we've received from the other agencies, sort through that, and then kind of come up with that plan. He'll be kind of the, as it's mentioned, the coordinator. Thank you. And so that'll all be in-house. His training will be, a combination of that. We'll obviously train him as a pilot so he can coordinate the thing with some knowledge. And then, we have obviously a legal counsel we can consult when it comes to the policy to make sure we're not making bad decisions in that. And as we adjust, he'll be kind of, again, the oversight of the whole thing to make sure that we're following what we've set out to follow.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jeff. Does the board have any other questions?
I do have, Mr. Minke provided the model of the drone for us. It is an Autel, AUTEL, dual 640. And I think the dual refers to the capabilities of the camera that comes with it. And then there's a package deal that we received. So it's above and beyond what that would be with the batteries, with the some of the extras. So again, if you want more details, you can certainly email me and I can fill out what those extras might be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. You keep us posted, Jeff, on
Certainly.
how you're progressing.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no board action at this time. We're now going to have a public hearing on Pine County Public Works American with Disabilities Acts, ADA, transition plan. Mark, do you have that one covered?
Yeah, so, what we're required now to receive, any future federal transportation dollars is that we gotta have this transition plan. Essentially, it requires us to do a self-evaluation of our system, all our sidewalks, our ped ramps, our signals, trails, and to assess whether it's in compliance now or out of compliance, with the ADA. And then we're going to, as part of the plan, establish some goals to get into compliance. Couple things to note, this is just for the county system. So if the city wants to get transportation funding, they've got to do this with their own system. So, for some cities in our county, that could be a quite extensive process. The other thing is it's just for transportation. It doesn't include our buildings. Just for the transportation side of it. They do allow for some leeway on being in compliance. There's some situations where we would literally have to tear a building down to get the sidewalk in compliance. And so there's a variance process. And so we ended up, our goal, the 20-year goal we established was 90% compliance. So that's what we're proposing as our goal. We did our self-evaluation. I think we're doing pretty good for close to 80% on our bed count, for 70% on our sidewalk. Trail at this point 100%, and our signal systems we're at 80% compliance. We're required to have accessible push button signals. So if you're in a wheelchair, you can pull up, be able to reach that button, push it to be able to cross at the signal. So anytime we do a project, we're upgrading our system to try to get to that point. Been a good process, giving us a good chance to look at what we got. I was kind of surprised we had 700 miles of sidewalk. I didn't know we had that much. And then, so we put this together, take any public comments, and we'll put that in this document. And there's a couple things I got to update on some estimated numbers. We're probably looking at about $400,000 or $500,000 of anticipated costs just to do some of these updates within our plan. And so it's not a bank, it's not going to break the bank, but it's a fair amount of investment. So anytime we do a project now, currently, we're required by the state to implement these improvements. So yes, like doing our surface repair, we'll actually have to go and tear up some of the sidewalk, bed ramp, and upgrade in it systems when we do our projects currently. So that's kind of a summary. I guess I can throw it back to the chairman with direction or question.
Thank you, Mark. I was looking through this thing over the weekend, and I think I understand now, why they tore out those selected spots along Main Street in Pine City and Highway 61. I think you told me that was to make it ADA compliant, and it looks like Pine City through town is all compliant now. The thing I don't understand are those steel plates at the bottom of the ramp. Are they supposed to keep you from slipping?
Well, those are called a detectable warning pad. It's actually for the visual impaired. As they're walking on the sidewalk, they can sense where the ramp is and where the end of it is, and they are no slips, so they do that benefit as well. But good question.
Well, I don't know if it's a good question. It's just something I couldn't figure out. Why we needed to plop them in every place.
It's pretty amazing, people that are, have that impairment are still able to walk and get out and do things on their own. So.
Right. Does anybody from the board have any questions on this? It's quite a plan, Mark.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, there's some guidance on what that we're required to have. So we've got that covered. And then there's also a grievance procedure. And so, we're obligated to respond. If there's somebody that has a concern, they'll be able to file a grievance, and then we'll evaluate it and try to make an improvement if we can.
It's funny. I just got an email right now. It popped up on my screen. Somebody wondering how come the sidewalk wasn't swept off from the recent little bit of snow, because they walk at night. But anyway, no questions from the board. How about the public? This is pretty exciting stuff, I know. But it's one of those things we get to do in life.
Yeah, like just on the buildings end of it, Steve, I just comment that, getting rid of the old courthouse, there was probably some issues there. But our buildings, the two buildings in Sandstone, I think, if it's possible, we're probably 100% compliant. And then obviously the new courthouse is compliant. And so, we might have a few things we need to do at the highway building in Pine City. But as far as all our public available buildings, I think we're really in good shape. So that's a good testament to what the county has invested in the past.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mark. I hear no comments from the public, so we'll close the public part of the hearing. Any additional comments from the board? We will like to take action on this if somebody would consider a motion of adopting the ADA transition plan.
Commissioner, we'll move the disability transition plan.
Thank you.
Moral second.
Was that Commissioner Ludwig that made the motion?
Ludwig moved.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. And then Moore seconded. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Shafee.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we move on to the fun part. We get to recognize Terry Lovegren for 34 plus years of service to Pine County. That's awesome, Terry.
Thanks,
Where
Steve.
are you?
We're coming.
Okay, there you are. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
I think when I signed up to run, you were probably the person I talked to a while back. And
It's been a while.
probably the first person I talked to when I won the election. So you've been a mainstay there forever. And speaking of elections, I know that's been a big part of your job for quite a while. And we appreciate the extra effort you do. I know there's not much sleep that goes on Tuesday nights of elections. So we appreciate it. I believe Matt has a little presentation for you, and Kelly has some words.
Yes, she gets her clock of 34 years of service, so she don't have to worry about being late to work anymore.
That's good. You'll appreciate that.
And I do want to make a comment, Mr. Chair, if I can. I remember when we were working at something, and I don't know if it was a committee of the whole meeting or whatever, but you came to us with a presentation, and it was about the repurchasing and how there was a kind of like a built-in take advantage of the system thing. And I am never going to forget that because you explained it so well that we all understood the game that people are playing, and I want to thank people.
You're welcome.
Because that affects the people here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for working on that. Thank you for working. Yeah.
Thank you.
And so Kelly Schroeder, County Auditor Treasurer, I just had a few words to quickly say about Terry. So Terry has worked here with Pine County actually most of my life. Which is a little bit funny. So Terry has worked throughout, she actually started initially in the highway department and then took some time off and then came back into the assessor's office and worked for many years in the assessor's office before coming over to the auditor treasurer side. So it's exciting with Terry moving to this next chapter of her life and with Pine County with her vast experience with the county. I can't thank Terry enough for my transition into the auditor treasurer role. Day 2 getting sprung with a whole series of special elections. The county would have been in big trouble. I would have been in big trouble, but Terry was there as the steady hand knowing what to do when I was looking like a deer in the headlights.
She did great. She did great.
So I just can't say enough good things about Terry. And so we're grateful that she's been here and grateful that she's going to continue to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whoops. Steve's muted.
4 years, Terry, if you want to say some words, you can.
Put her on the spot.
We've talked for almost 35 years. I think I'll be quiet today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. It kind of amazes me that how many of these clocks we should have kept track in a 5 or 10 year period that we've given away for long-term employees. I think that says a lot about the organization. So thanks, Terry. Personnel committee report. Who's going to take that?
Well, Mr. Chair, I was going to ask Commissioner Chafee if he wants to do it.
Go ahead, Matt. I'm picking this up, so.
What did he say?
I think he said he's not picking it up very well, so.
Okay, I will take it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. The Personnel Committee met on December 8th, and we made the following recommendations. For the Sheriff's Office, approve the promotion of part-time Sheriff Secretary Jamie Silva to full-time status effective January 1. It's a grade 4 minimum starting wage of $17.66. In the Sheriff's Office and Corrections, we acknowledge the resignation of Corrections Officer Grant Crater effective December 8th and approve backfill of the position and any subsequent vacancies due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. That position is grade 7 with minimum starting wage of $20.74 per hour. Approve the promotion of Corrections Officer to Team Lead Sergeant prior to Sergeant Gray's February 25th, 2021 retirement. This action will allow time for training, facilitate a smooth personal transition into maintain jail safety, and the promotion would be from a correction officer grade 7 at $20.74 per hour to sergeant grade 10 at $24.70 per hour. In the administration, we approve policy changes and submit the following required documentation to the Minnesota Department of Human Services for the process of moving forward in withdrawing from the Minnesota merit system on January 2022. And you know, commissioners, we approved this, I think at our last meeting to go forward. And I think we're updating section 3.4 of recruitment and selection process and declaration of policy of equal employment opportunity to add language regarding the filing of complaints. And we'll add section 3.19 to establish personal board of appeals. Update section 16.7 for equal opportunity, non-discrimination and respectful workplace to include affirmative action, equal opportunity, complaint and grievance process. Add section 36 to employee training and development. Add section 37 for political activity, the Hatch Act. And County Board Resolution 2020-86, adoption of the County Personnel Act and certification review summary. And my personal comment is I really support this process where we hire our own instead of the state having so much authority in our hiring process. And I think we can do a good job of picking, and I think we've done a great job in the past in our process, Mr. Chair. So with that, I will make a motion to approve these recommendations.
Mr. Chafee, second.
Thank you. Thank you both. Is there any discussion on the motion of the report? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee. Commissioner Chafee.
Aye, sorry about that.
District 4, Commissioner Bickert.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the property tax levy and budget. We have before you the resolution 2020-82 establishing the 2021 Pine County property tax levy at $19,935,014. So it's time for any discussion we may have on that. We know this process starts basically as we finish up the year, as we finish up 2020, we will be beginning our 2021 budget process. And as you know, many bills keep coming in, and our accrual time for that is through March, I believe. And so we keep a pretty good track of where we're finishing last year as we look forward to the next year. And then all the department heads are working continually trying to understand any legislation that may have happened to them, how they have to adjust the way they do business based on any legislative changes, because much of what we do, we're agents of the state, and if the state tells us we have to do something, then we kind of have to change the way we do business. And sometimes they don't fund us at the level that we think we need to be funded to do those jobs. And the thing that sticks in my craw continually is our probation department. When legislators made a deal with the counties to pay county-based probation people, I believe at 55 or 60% of their salary, and we've been down in the 29% reimbursement range. We have to make up that difference. We have to provide probation. We've been very effective with our probation department, but we have to make up that difference, and that difference adds up to be a lot of money in the end. So anyway, we have a lot of help from staff as they prepare their budgets, and we look at it and say, we can't afford that. And so but department heads have to go back and say, well, we got to figure out how to do this differently then. And they're very creative. I wouldn't trade any of them for anybody else in the state. I think they're awesome leaders and awesome creative financiers. So I appreciate all the work that all the staff has done to help us get to this point of having a property tax levy of $19,935,014. And so unless somebody has something else to propose, I would look for a motion for this tax levy.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
do you want to do it in two parts or one?
Yes, I believe we'll do the levy first and then we'll authorize the budget second.
Okay. Commissioner Ludwig will move resolution 2020-82 establishing the 2021 Pine County property tax levy at, excuse me, $19,935,014.
Ludwig moves.
Chafee second.
Chafee seconds. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickret.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
And then we will do resolution 2020-83 adopting the 2021 county budget and authorizing the board chair and county administrator to sign. David, did you want to say anything about the budget? Because those budgets are living documents. We have to pick that budget and then we have to live with it. However, things change, so that means we've only got a limited amount of money that we have to sometimes move from one category to another to make our budget work. I don't hear any comments from anybody, so I'll be looking for a motion for the resolution -83.
Commissioner Morrow, move resolution 2020-83.
Mickret, second.
Motion by Moore, second by Mickret to approve the budget. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I got a
Yep.
comment. I'd just like to say, same as you did, as we basically start this budget as soon as the new year starts again. And in my 6 years on the board, the budgeting process has been the hardest to do because we respect our employees, and when they come to us with a budget request, it's hard to say no, but I can't remember how many millions or $1.5 million we shaved off of this one to get where we needed to be. It's not easy. It's hard. So I appreciate everybody that brings the budget request to us and the crew that weeds through it and figures out where we can go. So that's it.
Thank you. No other discussion. The clerk will call the roll.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it moves us to the resolution 2020-85 establishing county commissioners' compensation. Recommendation is unchanged from 2020 and per diem is unchanged from 2020. And the mileage rate for 2021 will be at the IRS rate for business mileage. The compensation, by the way, is $21,844 per year, and the per diem is $100.
Looking for a motion, Mr.
Yeah, we're looking for a motion. I know everybody likes to make this motion.
Ludwig will move.
Chafee second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
and maybe this is for David. When was the last time, and how much was the last increase that we ever did give ourselves?
I think it was a few years ago,
3 or 4.
there was an adjustment made to increase the board chairs amount. And then I don't remember actually when the last commissioner increase was. Maybe someone else remembers.
3 years ago.
Yeah, Matt is thinking it was 3 years ago.
Okay. That's all I had.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Chafee, but I believe in the time you were on, probably one increase in commissioners' compensation.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, and I know we did do a per diem increase from 75 to 100, but I don't remember doing a compensation increase. All I can remember is per diem increase, so I'm not real sure.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Chair that I think it was a per diem that was 3 years ago.
Anyway, we have a motion and a second on the compensation rates. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move on to consider the elected department head salaries, County Sheriff Jeff Nelson, County Attorney Reese Fredrickson. And can we take those in one, the rest of them here? Cost of living adjustments for non-union employees?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think you can do them all in one motion.
Okay. And county contribution toward health insurance for non-union employees. I think everybody has that in front of us. Sheriff Nelson is 117,938 and county attorney is 139,87. Cost of living is 1.45 and 1.25. I'm looking for a motion. Who was that, Mickert?
Chafee.
Chafee. All right.
Mickert, second.
Chafee makes a motion. Mickert seconds. Any discussion?
Just comment, Mr. Chair, from Ludwig.
Yes. Yeah.
When people look at the salaries for the sheriff and the county attorney, I just like to know they are low to mid-range in comparables to the counties around us, so. They're about in the middle of the pack at best. So.
Yeah, thank you.
It's hard to stay competitive.
It is. Hearing no other comments, the clerk will call the roll.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to establishing the Citizens Board and Committee per diems. Resolution 2020-87. There is a sheet in your packet that lists them all. I won't read them. But we need approval for resolution 2020-87.
Commissioner Moore will make that motion.
Thank you. We have a second.
Mick, second.
Thanks, John. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to labor negotiation update. The following agreements have been reached with Road and Bridge, AFSCME, Highway Techs, AFSCME Road and Bridge Maintenance, Public Works Department. And what was C?
Mr. Chair, we had added the highway supervisors and the legal assistants.
And legal assistance. We'll take those all in one motion. Good job, negotiating committee.
Commissioner Moore will move all four of them.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chafee seconds.
Moore makes a motion. Chafee seconds on labor contract. Any discussion?
I do have one question. Where do we sit right now then, David?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Moore, we have two agreements left unsettled. We have the social services supervisors, and they were going to vote on the last county proposal, and I have not heard back from that. And then we are scheduled Monday to meet with the deputies, which is the other group we have unsettled. So it's highway or social services supervisors and deputies that remain outstanding.
And we have met with both of them. I know that. So we have stuff going back and forth at least. So
good. Thank you very much. Any other comments? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next is purchasing parts from More Parts and Supplies. Consider the approval of resolution 2020-84, which allows us to buy miscellaneous parts when appropriate from More Parts.
Commissioner Ludwig will move. McGrath, second.
Motion by Ludwig, second by McGrath. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 2, Commissioner Moore. Will you be abstaining or?
I will abstain.
Okay. District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner McRae.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Establish the time and format for the January 5th County Board organizational meeting. I believe it needs to be January 5th, and I believe it needs to be in the county courthouse. Am I correct, David?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's correct. And it wouldn't even be on your agenda today, except for we've typically been meeting in Sandstone because there's a bigger meeting room. And so this is just to acknowledge that it will be in the courthouse unless the commissioners also do have the option because of the pandemic to do 100% remote.
I think we will do a little polling and see who would want to show up. I know there's a couple, we have 2 new onboarded people. Maybe it's appropriate that they be in person that day to get off to a good start.
And Mr. Chair, I did reach out to both of the commissioners elect, and I did hear back from Terry Lovegren, and she does want to meet in person.
Okay. We only are going to allow 2 there, so the rest of us will adjust. And it'll be at 10 o'clock on the 5th.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, just to clarify, I know Commissioner Ludwig has a preference for attending in person, and we haven't heard from Commissioner-elect Waldheim.
Yes.
So I don't know if we might potentially have 3 in the meeting room or not.
I will, if Waldheim says yes, I'll go remote.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't want to have to adjudicate that on that Tuesday morning.
Yeah, no.
I have no problem. Yep. Yep, you're welcome, Mr. Chair.
All right. And then we need to establish a date for the county board strategic planning session. The committee of the whole, sometime early in January.
And
we had a date kind of picked out. I'm looking for it.
And I'm wondering, we've typically tried to stay with Tuesdays, but all of the Tuesdays have either a board meeting, a personnel committee meeting, or a tech committee meeting unless we change those committee meeting dates. And so I'm wondering if the board would want to look at either Monday the 18th or Monday the 25th as potential strategic planning dates.
The 18th is.
Oh.
Pardon me?
The 18th is a holiday. Sorry about that.
What's on the 11th?
The 11th would be open, I think.
I have a solid waste committee. It's usually done by 11:30-ish. We usually do more of an all-day thing, don't we?
Yeah, we typically have a morning and an afternoon.
Yeah.
We could certainly be flexible, or we could look at doing 2 days too, depending.
What's the 12th? I don't have anything on the 12th.
That would be a personnel committee in the morning.
We can get that done quick though, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Let's shoot for the 12th.
At 10:30?
Sure.
And where's that going to be? Remote? Or we're going to?
Well, we would certainly have a remote component of it. And I guess if there were commissioners who wanted to attend in person, we could figure out Well, we should plan on doing it here, just because the room is bigger, I would think.
Yeah, and that's,
Oh,
I'm fine with all remote too, for that, if you want, so. I don't know, John, or would you be there, sorry, yeah.
so we'll plan on remote, and any commissioners that want to join in person could do it here in Sandstone. That sounds acceptable?
Okay. That sounds acceptable. We'll plan on that. Coronavirus response update.
Hello, I'm
There's
Lil.
Samantha. Yeah.
I'm here. I'm just sneaking in here now. Demo, Director of Public Health. So I can do data if people are curious about the data. We have seen a general dip across the state following there's executive order, which is good. That's what we wanted to see working. We'll be hearing from the governor tomorrow if he's planning to extend that. I have no inclination of whether he's going to do that or not. Nobody's given me a heads up. The big news right now, the thing that we're all furiously working on, like little ducks paddling underwater, is vaccines. So Pfizer was approved late last week and then over the weekend. That is all going to hospitals and healthcare systems because just the logistics of transporting ultra cold vaccine is kind of a headache. Eventually we might get it to administer, but it'll be a little while. Moderna, which is another vaccine, is looking like it'll be approved here Thursday, and then all the recommendations that come with it will come up Friday and Saturday, meaning that they will be shipping vaccines starting on Sunday. We should be receiving our first allotment of that vaccine early to mid next week, so before Christmas. The plan is for us to go into skilled nursing facilities in the county. So we have 2 of those. And vaccinate staff and residents. Anybody who raises their hand, we're not going to hold anybody down. We're not going to force anybody. But if they say, yes, I would like one, they are the first in line to get one, along with people actually vaccinating. So public health staff who are going into these will also be first in line to get the vaccine. And then from there, we go on to assisted living. We also hit EMS, which includes most of our law enforcement staff. So it's a snowball. We're going and we're rolling, and it's domino. Do people have questions about the vaccine? We have a whole hour webinar that we give that we're going to be for the skilled nursing.
Sam, my question is, I hang out with a bunch of people who are my age and older. And so the question at coffee yesterday, we do our virtual coffee, is I'm 83 years old. How far down on the list am I?
So if it is,
that's not me. That's from a friend of mine. I know I look 83, but I don't act like it.
If they're 83 and they're living on their own, generally independent, they're not in any sort of assisted living situation, then they would fall towards, it's called 1C is the priority group. 1A is the healthcare workers, anybody in a long-term care setting, living setting, so group homes, assisted living, nursing homes. Then we go to 1B, and that's essential workers. So you get county employees there, you get grocery store workers, all sorts of first responders. It's a very large category for essential workers. And then you go to 1C, which is anybody over 65, and then people under 65 who have comorbidity. So those things that make you at higher risk of having a really bad case of COVID.
Okay, so if you had a bone marrow transplant, you're 58 years old, you're going to be in that C category. Okay.
Yep. Yep. And if you have a way to, if they qualify for some other way to get up higher, you're in the high group. So if they're 58 with bone marrow transplant and they're a grocery store worker, they'll scoot up to essential. And they'll get.
Do you know, I've been getting stuff from the VA, that the VA also has a rollout plan. Do you interact with the VA system at all?
We don't. I've heard that VA got Pfizer vaccine. My understanding is right now they would only be vaccinating staff. Or if they had assisted living nursing home under the VA, I don't know if they do, but if they did, it will.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
this is David. I have a question for Sam. So if someone is in that category 1, A, B, or C, and they think they may have an opportunity in the next however long it takes to get the vaccine, and they have maybe a complicated medical history or aren't sure if they should get the vaccine, should they reach out to public health, or who should they reach out to prior to having the opportunity to get the shot if they have questions?
So we can give a general statement, like, I have a 12-year-old, can they get the vaccine? We're going to say no, because that's a very blanket. But if it's a really nitty-gritty, like specific to my medical situation, we're always going to tell them, talk to your doctor. Your doctor understands your medical history better than we ever will. So no, we generally defer them to just send a message through, electronic portals are generally really available now. Give them a call. So we can do the general big statement. Really tailored advice to your medical history is going to come from.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I do have a comment though, and that's the fact that it's gotten real to me. A friend of mine who spent his whole life, or his adult life, teaching at Pine Tech, retired last June or May, and he is on hospice right now with COVID-related injuries. It's a sad story. He didn't get 6 months of retirement. So it wear a mask. He's a good guy. It's a tough deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Take care of yourselves.
We're hearing more and more stories like that. People get tired of this, and we get it, but there's a light. Just bear with us as we get back into those. And get the vaccine when you're allowed to. It really does work.
Yeah.
Safe.
So, thank you, Sam. Keep us informed. People are anxious about that. They understand it's going to take a while till we get all the vaccines starting to be delivered, but everybody wants to know, when can I expect that I can go get my vaccination? Because it's in our sights right now. We can see help coming.
Mm-hmm.
And all the time it's like a little kid waiting for Santa Claus to come. It's coming, but you want him to come right now.
Yeah, so we're doing our best to get through as quickly as possible, and it's partially just supply chain. How many vaccines can we actually get in our hands today? As soon as we get them, we're going to try and get them out.
Thank you. Anything else on update? David, you will have updates for us as they develop with the new legislation that passed yesterday, and we will look for that in emails, I'm sure.
Yeah, so just to get everyone up to speed, yesterday the legislature did pass a state relief bill that included some direct funding to counties to pass through to local businesses, and some nonprofits are eligible. And so Pine County will have about $568,000 to create a grant program to help sustain businesses during the pandemic. And the deadline for that is mid-March that the funds have to be spent, but we will work to ramp up a program as quickly as we can.
Thank you.
That'll be in our priority meeting.
What was that, Matt?
I said, well, first thing in our January meeting.
Right, right. Okay, we'll move on to commissioner updates, but first I want to recognize Steve Chafee and John Mickret for their great service to Pine County. I couldn't have asked for two better people to get to know and to work with. Both of you people brought a real calming effect to the board. You're very diligent in your work. John was a man of few words, but John, I always remember your reports from the Northeast group and from Rush Line and from the Drug Task Force. And I remember one time when we were having a discussion and seemed to be bogged down, and you said, you know, if we know something's wrong, aren't we wrong if we don't do it?
Right.
And that was very, it stuck with me, and it will stick with me. So thank you very much. And Steve, I think you ushered in a new era in board employee relations and got us going down the right track with how to treat employees and really how to treat everybody that came to the board. Your respect for everybody, it didn't matter if they were who they were and who they represented. You respected them, and I appreciate that. You always were very thoughtful. You set the bar really high for us in how to treat people, how to take care of people, and yet you were very conservative in your spending. We appreciate that. So thank you guys. We're going to miss you, and good luck. You know, you'll get Tuesdays off now, so that'll be all right. But thank you so much for what you've contributed to Pine County. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Steve, for the kind words.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Commissioner Moore. I would just say the same thing, both of you guys. John, we didn't get a chance to really connect a whole lot and talk too much, but I appreciate all the stuff you've done for the county board, and had a lot of good information, and just helped us out a lot. I mean, we have really good county board right now. And Steve, me and you have sat hours and hours and hours together in negotiations, and we talked a lot about guns and family and hunting and a lot of stuff, and we still did even work a little in there, but really appreciate all you've done to bring me to a different level on the county board too, and gonna be missed. Both of you guys are, so I appreciate it.
Mr. Chair.
I just want to say I really.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just got a couple too. I don't want to stack on here, but I agree with both of you guys. And I remember the same story you told about Mickret. I was going to make a comment on that, but so thanks for bringing that. I think every one of us commissioners, that one is going to stick with us forever when John made that statement, because we had quite a kind of a row going around the table that day. And he kind of said, we all look at him and go, yeah, what he said. And then I remember what Steve, I think it was my first meeting as a chair, and you kind of stumble through things because you're nervous, and and Steve leaned over and he says, we'll get there, don't worry. So we'll get through it. And then I also was Steve with personnel on that committee. We've been there since forever, and he has always been a leader, and he has a great memory of things that happened to employees in the past, good and bad, as groups, and how we need, like you said so eloquently, Steve, is He cares about our employees. And he knows we can't always pay him, you know, what surrounding counties do, but he always has that input, like environment that we work in and things like that has just as much to do with money. So, thanks to both of you guys. I've learned from both of you and I'm going to miss you both.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And I would just like to say,
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, Steve, thank you to you guys for the comments you made. And, you know, I've enjoyed, I think one of the most enjoyable things for me being on the board is working with the rest of the commissioners. And I think Josh said it, we've had a tremendous board, I think, and we've accomplished a lot in the last few years. And I'm looking forward to you guys continuing on doing the things that you do so well. So I will miss each one of you individually. So I thank you for the kind words you said.
If I can make a comment, Steve?
Yeah.
As you said, I am a man of few words. But I'd like to say the last 4 years has been an honor and a pleasure. An honor to serve District 4 and a pleasure to work with 4 respectable, dedicated gentlemen. I thank you.
Thanks, John. So we do have some more work to do, and one is the commissioner update, soil and water. Do we have any report from there?
Mr. Chair, I missed it, but Administrator Menke went on my behalf.
Okay.
I don't know if you have anything to say, Dave.
Well, maybe just update everyone that the SWCD was recruiting for a manager to fill their district manager position, and they did not select a candidate, and so they have appointed Paul Swanston as the interim manager for 6 months, and so that's the direction that they will be going.
Okay, thank you. How about the shack meeting? Do we have any report on that?
You know, Steve, I missed that one again. Actually, I tried the last one, and I'm not able to get in on my phone. I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong, but I don't know if Sam had a chance, if she's still on here, if she had a chance to listen in or not.
I gonna be honest, totally missed it because I was swamped with vaccine stuff, but it was generally going over vaccine stuff for commissioners, like what we're doing at the local level, and then acknowledging the retirement. So, and then voting on affairs that were already decided last time. So that's fine.
Thank you. Law library.
Yeah, we did have a meeting. Basically, we just went over the budget. We have a few missing books, but we did talk a little bit about the usage of the law library has been very, very low, which the good thing is we haven't had a lot of stuff stolen out of there lately. So that was good, but we just went over our budget for next year and approved it and paid some bills. That was about it.
Thank you. Central Minnesota Jobs and Training was our audit report. That was we had a good audit. Clifton Larson Allen presented that. Otherwise things are going along pretty good. We had a retirement of a guy named Harlan Matson. He was also on the Shack committee. A guy that I just become very, he's a guy very easy to like. And so Harlan has been a great contact for me from Candy Ojai County, a farmer, been on the Candy Ojai board for, I believe, 24 years. So he'll be missed. East Central Solid Waste, we had a short meeting, basically paid bills, checked in on the budget for the coming year. We've had this big increase in garbage in the last 9 or 10 months. It finally has slowed in the last month to more probably what we would expect. But anyway, it's it's good for business. It's bad to know we're throwing that much stuff away. 10,000 tons of garbage in East Central Minnesota in a month is a lot.
Mr.
Do the
Chair?
math. Yeah.
So do you guys think that that had to do with people being at home and decided to clean their garages and their houses when they were, and so you just got it?
I think it had exactly a lot to do with that. It also had a lot to do with people having time to do some remodeling projects and cleaning up, but really people couldn't go places. They couldn't go out to eat, so they stayed home and cleaned that back bedroom that they've been going to clean for the last 5 years. and it goes in the garbage. You know, I think at some point we have to get caught up. But our church has a rummage sale every year, and I keep saying, aren't they going to run out of stuff soon? And every year the fellowship hall gets more full of stuff. So I don't know where it all comes from, but anyway, people are throwing away stuff, apparently. Library. Josh.
I did miss that one, sorry.
Okay. Chemical Health Coalition.
You want to start it, John, or?
No, go ahead.
Want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we had our meeting yesterday. The main purpose of yesterday's meeting was to do the ripple effect mapping. And all the members we were assisted by an outside regional director, and we broke into rooms through Zoom, and we were interviewed, and it was to test the process of the group. And so they were interviewed on, you know, how the group itself felt, that how we were affecting our message in the communities around the county. So that is a work in progress. We just did part one. It was all interactive. And that part two is going to come at the next meeting. And then we had a relatively short general meeting after that process. There's some good points. You know, the new billboards are up. Becky is working on that grant for chemical health, and that's going to be at this office in Swanston, and mental health. Another one of our health educators, Haley, was working on the tobacco and other drugs with businesses and flyers and putting a flyer together to send to the businesses where they failed compliance tests on tobacco and stuff like that. But it was a pretty quick meeting, and more to follow on the ripple effect mapping is going to be a good result from the next two meetings. We'll see what happens there.
Keep us informed.
We will.
All right. Upcoming meetings, check on those.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Hey, under other,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say something real quick. I believe in your packet, you got an envelope that says you're not supposed to open it until you were instructed.
I didn't open it.
You didn't open it? Well, now's the time to open it. So,
I did not. Matter of fact, I forgot about it.
You're being told by the vice chair you got to do something right now. So, if you can find
not
that.
open.
Okay.
For once in my life, I've read the directions.
All right. Well, that's for you, and I would just like to present that to you for your leadership and dedication to this county board over the last year. I don't believe anybody ever expected what was going to happen in 2020, but if any year, maybe you should have got a bigger raise than what you do get, because there's a lot of stuff that happened this year, and it was very, very assuring to have your leadership and dedication to this county board over the last year as county board chair. I do appreciate it, and please, hopefully you like that. I tried to sign it as nice as I could, but so
you did good, Josh.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
If I could, just one more on the other, I don't know if you're aware or anybody, maybe Mark, they did start up on that dam project in Willow River. Landwire moved in town last week and started swinging iron. So all the work that Mark did, trying to work with the DNR to coordinate replacement of the culvert or bridge or whatever we gotta end up doing is all under the culvert, I'm gonna say, because they started already, and I guess I don't know when they expect to be done, but things are progressing. As I drove through town this morning, they had most of the old dam removed already, so.
Wow, awesome.
That project of theirs is underway.
Thanks, John. No other business. I wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Hey, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, if we can look at the upcoming meetings.
Yep.
I just wanted to draw attention to maybe do a little circle back and celebration. There are 3 of the Work Fast programs graduating. There's the welding program on the 16th, at which I think you are scheduled to speak.
Yes.
Then there is a business computer application on the 17th of December, and then the auto tech program on the 18th of December, and Josh is scheduled to speak at that. But this is just, I don't know, hopefully you get a little satisfaction in knowing there's a bunch of students who are graduating because of the decision you made on directing some funding to Pine Technical and Community College.
Thanks for the reminder. Any other business? If not, we'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Debbie, are you at work, Debbie?
No, not at all. I mean,
I do have work, but I'll see you this afternoon, right, Steve?
they're working out.
I'll be in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
How far are they on that?
Just hard and wireless. I don't really understand the process, what they're doing, because they got an excavator down there and they're pumping water this way and that way, and you know.
Drew's going to be happy. He might get part of his beach back.
They want